All right, hello everyone. Welcome to this week's tactical watch list. It's Sunday, July 13th, 2025. Before we get started, just want to let everybody know I am planning to record a Q&A session this week. So if you haven't already, just shoot me an email with whatever questions you have. If it's on a particular stock or part of the strategy, just really anything, and I'll ask as many as you want. I'm not gonna answer all of them right away. So like if you list 5 questions, I'll probably answer maybe one or two, and then try to get to everybody else. And then at the end, if there's more time, I'll go back and try to answer the last of your questions. So shoot me an email. The email is trade@realtacticaltrades.com. All right, so let's get into this. Decent watch list. Some are extended, some are, natural reactions that I'm trying to get through. But starting off in alphabetical order, we have ACOG. This is a biotech. It's pretty thin, 125K shares daily. But just, your standard base here. And you got about a 7% stop to this low down here. AS. This is apparel, accessories, and luxury goods. I've never heard of them, but the decent looking base here. You're looking at about 4% down here to the total base low. I was only about 8.25%, so this is pretty tight here. CDTX. This is the biotech we had on watch last week. So you could have bought it here, coming through here, and now it's just forming another pivot right on top. So if you didn't buy it, you could get on board through here, or if you want to add to your position, that's a good place to do it. CPS, this is automotive parts and equipment. Just your standard cheat here. You're looking at about 7.25% in this area here. You could actually start buying through Thursday's high, 24.55. But if you want, just that little bit more confirmation, I always tend to just get that little more confirmation and break through the pivot high. DAN, this was on last week's list. It did start leaking off here a bit, but it didn't break the most recent pivot low. So it's still, this can recover easily. Then that's just going to be another contraction in the whole VCP. But even to the base low here, you're looking at about, well, not the base low. The base low is way down here, but you know what I mean. You're looking about 8.25% here. So this, I would expect this to come back up and then just, go inside for a couple days and then go from there. DoorDash. This one broke out back here on the 23rd of June. Now it's just putting in a natural reaction. A natural reaction doesn't always have to be a pullback. It can just be another pivot. So right now you're looking at about 5% in this whole area. So that's relatively tight. That's viable. So if you're not on board, you can get on board. KGC, this one, I actually took a loss on this one last week. It just poked its head out on this day here by like 1 penny. And I got in. And what's funny is I usually set my buy stop a few cents above, maybe 3, 4, 5 cents above. But this one I was like, no, it's fine. Just 1 penny above. And it triggered me in and then just had an awful outside day. So took a small loss on that, but it's still relatively tight. Down to the 50 days at 7%. So looking for this to retighten back up along this level here and then re-break out. LITE, this is communications equipment. Pretty big base here going all the way back to January. And you got a almost 7% pivot there. The whole base structure is about 56% depth, so it's a little on the wide side, but this one looks okay. LLYVK, this has been on my watch, I feel like, for weeks now. And it's just, struggling to get going here. I thought it was going to go around here, but it just came back in. So currently down to Friday's low is about 7.5%. So it looks a bit wide, but this is still pretty tight. So Look for this to get back to these 82 levels and build another pivot maybe. Maybe get a tighter stop. Meta platforms. Big base here going back to February. You got about a sub 4% stop here. Big base, nice structure. Everything looks great. Fundamentals are good. So this is high on my list here. MKL. This has been on the list for a couple weeks. I mean, you could have bought it through here on the 20th. That was a valid entry here, but it's just kind of gone sideways, not really going. So into new highs over the high of the 7th. That's your entry there. And to the shakeout low, that's only 3.25%. So this is super, super tight. NNNN. This is a biotech that is just going bonkers right now. Ran up 553%. Now you're probably saying like, well, you know, this isn't flagged out yet. This is just gone inside for a couple days, and that's true. And I'm looking at it as when something has this much power, it might just keep going before it ever flags out. So, you know, if you were to buy it here as it flagged out as a pullback buy, you know, you're sitting pretty. You're currently up 45% in just a few days. So I'm looking at this as just a breakout into the new highs, and I'll use a very, very tight stop. Depends on what the chart looks like. You know, maybe I'll use an intraday stop if there's a pivot on the 5-minute chart. I might just use a flat 5% stop. I might use a, you know, depending on where it opens, maybe a 2% stop. I can't really tell you until that chart forms. But the entry is here, and I'm going to keep the stop super, super tight and just see if it works. Netgear, NTGR. I think this is a bigger base. I might be thinking of, kind of. But yeah, decent sized base going back to mid-December. And now it's just pulling back here to the 50. So I'm looking at this as a pullback buy. Let me get in tighter here. So I'm expecting this to have support off the 50. I mean, you did get support off the 50, but I want to see it, you know, over Friday's high is your entry, Friday's low is your stop. That's a good risk reward there. OKLO. This is, you know, kind of like one of those meme stocks where it's just, you know, it ripped so crazy over here, 176%. You know, from this pivot down here, ran up 152%. So this one, it's just, it has the power to just go. It's a meme stock, basically. So I'm looking at this as a cheat here, and you're going to have, it's too wide. You can't use a technical low. That's 11% down here. So you're going to have to use either low of day or a flat 5%. But either way, this is the area. And this is early. This is lower probability. If you want to wait a little bit longer, you know, but again, look at how this stock moves. You know, look at this day here. Just that one day, up 27%. So this one might just go, and I want to get on board. So Ralph Lauren, apparel and accessories, decent base here going all the way back to February. It did break out here on the 7th, and now just going through a natural reaction here, pulling back nice and orderly on lower volume. So I'm looking at this as a pullback buy to get on board. And yeah, that one looks really good. SHAK. This was the one I was thinking about, one with the bigger base. Go back 9 months, you know, all the way back to November here. And I don't love this right side. See how it just curves up here? I don't love that action, but I've been seeing it work lately. I don't remember off the top of my head, but and you're looking at about a 4% stop using this low here. So super tight. Volumes come in. This one looks ready. It's in the industry you want to be in. Next up, we have Shopify. This one looks pretty good. Another big base going all the way back to November. And you're looking at a 6.5% stop in this pivot here. So you could probably take it even all the way down to the 50-day and still be under 10%. And that's obviously a big industry you want to be in. TOST, this one's still a little bit wide, a little bit funky, but you got a clear pivot here. I mean, even if you take it through here, you're looking around 7.5% around here, down to the shakeout low. That's a little too wide. That's in the 11% territory. So, if this can go tight for a couple days, and then maybe form an even tighter pivot, something like this. I want to get this straight. There we go. Something like that, and then you're looking at like a 3.5% stop. So if we can do something like this, that would look beautiful, and then I'd really load up here. TT, Train Technologies, this is on the list last week. Never triggered an entry. Still just staying tight, not doing anything wrong. Volume still low, so this one looks ready to go soon. Uber, this one was on the list last week. It broke out on Monday, and now just going through that natural reaction. Didn't get very far, so into new high ground. I mean, really, if you want to look at this as a pullback buy, you can, but however this shapes up. ULS, this is a research and consulting. Not the biggest base. This is pretty short, but I do like the shakeout here and the other shakeout here. And I just want to see this get back into the 74 level and build out a pivot. But if not, if it just goes, you can buy it at new highs and take Wednesday's low, and that's 5%. Use this low as your stop, which is below the 50. So URBN, Urban Outfitters, Retail Apparel, another group you want to be in. This one, current pivot is about 7.75%, but you could probably get tighter. Maybe use Friday's low, 4.75. Either way, it's pretty tight. Good industry, good fundamentals. And then finally, VRSN, Internet Services. This was on the list, I feel like for a couple weeks now. And technically, it poked its head out here on Wednesday, and just came right back in. So we'll see if this 50-day is going to be support and it can retighten, but the volume's still low. Base is okay. I think new high grounds, that should go. But that's all I got. We'll see how this goes, and I'll see you next week. Don't forget to email me those questions.